Hey guys, Hijinks here, and we're back with another kind of video. We're going to be doing a video of what I view as my top 5 horror villain actors. And so how we're doing this is it's a few things. I'm looking at how much work they've done, and I'm looking at the quality of work itself. So that doesn't mean that if you've done a million projects that you're going to automatically be high up over other people or that you'll be on the list. But it also would probably help your chances because I have more things to kind of use for data. I will have all my research down in the description. So if you guys want, I have all the links that I was using for research. I kind of had an idea who my top 5 are going to be. I just need to get some a little bit of small details that I might not have known off the top of my head. And without further ado, let's hop into the video. So before we actually hop into this video, I forgot to mention, I would like for you guys to put your top 5 or maybe just your favorite horror actor that was a villain in horror movies in the comments down below. I'd love to see what you guys have coming. I will probably do another list where I'll be looking at heroes, actors that played the hero in horror films. But for number 5, I have Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder played in Friday the 13th, 7, New Blood, 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, The Final Friday, Jason X, and he was also in Hatchet 1 through 3, and he played as Victor Crowley, especially as Victor Crowley in the Victor Crowley movie. So I thought he was really good. He brings a lot of good aggression and a lot of intensity to his roles, and I thought that was something he did really well. And I just felt like he was a very solid horror movie actor. And I feel like he really brings that villain's presence to the film. For number 4, I have Nick Castle from Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018. And I also see in his filmography that he is producing another Halloween movie called Halloween Kills, where he'll also be playing the role as the Shape. And I have to say, he's higher up on the list. He's in my top 5 because of one thing. He wasn't originally in my top 5, but here's something that I put in my top 5. He plays this role in 1978. He comes back 40 years later and plays the role again, and he plays it just as well, if not better than the first time. It always impresses me when an actor can play a role, take a long layoff, come back and play that role again and nail it. A good example of this, and a movie I personally like, was Trainspotting 1 and Trainspotting 2. Trainspotting 1 happens like 10 or so years later, Trainspotting 2. And I thought that was so well done and so well executed. And they pull off here. And this is 40 years. It's a lot more significant than the time we had between Trainspotting 1 and Trainspotting 2. Another good one is The Incredibles. But Nick Castle plays this role and then comes back and does it 40 years later. Hopefully he really shines in this next Halloween film. But I just feel like anyone that can play a role, take a long break, and come back, especially of 40 years, and play it, like, you got to be up there. He also brings a good element, and he really makes Michael. He sells it to me. I really feel like there's this emotionless killer. It's just the Shape. Like that, it really sells the Shape to me, the way he does it. And I'm always impressed with what he can do. For number 3, we have Brad Dourif, who voiced Chucky in Child's Play, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, The Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and Cult of Chucky. Essentially, the entire original continuity for the original Child's Play series. He also looks like he'll be filming in the Chucky TV series, but Brad Dourif is a very special case in my opinion, because he is doing all this with just his voice. He's not giving us body language, nothing. He is selling it with his voice, and I think I'm always impressed in a film where a voice actor can really shine the way Brad Dourif has. Brad Dourif is also, I've looked at his list, his filmography. It looks like he has a lot of experience. I'm only really familiar with him from this series, but he just really does a great job as Chucky. Like, he is Chucky. Like, when people talking about Child's Play, I know Mark Hamill is now hopping into it. Maybe he'll shine as well, but when you're talking about Child's Play, like, Brad Dourif just pops right in my head. And that's the thing. I think no matter what, whenever I hear the name Chucky, I'm just gonna think Brad Dourif. I'm going to think of that voice. I'm going to think of, and just the way he plays it, his intensity with his voice, he really does a good job at selling the whole killer doll thing. I always have a good time watching. My number 2 pick is Robert Englund, who was the entire for the entire series of Nightmare on Elm Street, he was Freddy Krueger. He did a great job portraying Freddy Krueger in a bunch of different lights. We've got comedic Freddy, we've got more serious Freddys, but he does a great job. He really plays the role. He really sells the humor, sells the horror. I can watch it and I get scared because he genuinely can be scary, and then other times I'm laughing because he's genuinely funny, and that balance between horror and comedy is so hard to achieve, but Robert Englund always makes it happen. He just is always able to walk that line and give you a good time. Even in the Nightmare on Elm Streets that I'm not a big fan of, I still love his performance. I still think he does a wonderful job. And that speaks a lot. You know, when an actor is in a film and they are selling you the film, you're just like, that guy is just wonderful. And Robert Englund does a great job. He was also in other horror movies, and he does good in them as well. But that is the main one. That is where he's the villain. For my number 1 pick, I have Andrew Divoff. You guys may not know him. You guys may know him. But he is the Djinn from Wishmaster 1 and Wishmaster 2. Wishmaster is a series that I find... I like it a lot. I find it enjoyable, and I think not enough people talk about it. But I also understand it's not everyone's favorite. You either really like the film or you really don't. However, here's why Andrew Divoff is number 1. Even when people don't like Wishmaster 1 or Wishmaster 2, which are the ones he's in, they always like him. His performances always stand out. It always is there, and it always is great, and it always impresses the people watching. I've talked to a lot of people about Wishmaster 1 and Wishmaster 2, and every time I talk to someone about it, they always tell me, like, if they tell me that they don't like it, they always tell me that he did a great job. A lot of people always love his role, the way he plays the Djinn, the quirkiness, he just perfectly fits the Djinn. It's almost like there's like no emotion to this character. Like he doesn't really feel anything. He's nothing emotional, but it's like so quirky and weird, and it's just great. If you watch it, you'll know what I mean. Just the way he gets wishes and all that. He's just very good at selling this Djinn character. And honestly, when I think of a Djinn, when I hear that, Andrew Divoff pops in my head. He was phenomenal. And the insane thing is this: Wishmaster 1 and Wishmaster 2, tonally completely different films. Like, when you look at these two films, they are completely different from each other. I mean, yes, they're both horror-ish, but 2 is a lot more humorous, and he sells both. He does a great job in both roles. The first one, nails it. Second one, knocks it out of the park. Like, I am always impressed with what Andrew Divoff can do. I remember watching him just going like, wow, he pulled off both tones, and he did it perfectly. He made it seem so easy. But that is why he's number 1. I do have an honorable mention, and that honorable mention is Tony Todd from the Candyman series. I've only seen the first Candyman, so it was hard for me to put him on the list. And I've seen him in Final Destination, and I've seen him in Hellfest, where he wasn't necessarily the bad guy. So, I mean, I've seen him, and I love what he can do. I've always loved his acting ability. He's a great actor. But I didn't know where to put him on the list because I haven't really seen him in full light. And I did see him in Candyman, and I just felt like he did a great job in Candyman. But I hadn't seen Candyman 2 or 3, so I didn't really have enough information to really place him on the list. But he is phenomenal. I think that if this were a top 10, he would be a solid number 6. And maybe after I watch the other Candymans, I'll come back and we could talk about if he moved up the list or down the list. But Tony Todd is so impressive. Just the way he sells his characters, the depth, and just how his voice is perfect for these movies. Oh, he was in another movie, Jack the Ripper, but he wasn't necessarily the bad guy in that either. He kind of played the similar role as Final Destination, where he just knew information and was able to kind of give it out. But he just really sells his roles. He really does a great job in them. But I feel like he's a solid, top 10, number 6 on the list. But that'll be all for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Tell me who your favorite horror movie villain actor is. I would love to hear it. Maybe even tell me why. Maybe give me your top 5, or if you can't give me a top 5, just give me a number 1. I do want to say, smash that like button if you guys like the video. Smash that dislike if you don't like it. All I ask is whether you like or dislike, please let me know down below why you did or didn't like, or how I can improve. I also want to give a shout out to Lord Blue Eyes. His link will be in the description. He's an amazing friend of mine. He does great videos. I think you guys will really love them if you haven't checked him out already. I also want to shout him out because I actually got an idea for this list because I was watching his 31 ranking list, and he talked about how he is not a big Kane Hodder fan, and that got me to think, who do I like in horror? And that really inspired this list for me. So thank you, Lord, for that inspiration. I know that was like not something intended by it. You were just saying you didn't like it, but it did influence and give me a thought and give me an idea for a list. But without further ado, guys, I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Peace.